Hello everyone, I'm Mark Stevens, CEO of Trévo. Welcome to a training on leadership. The leadership required for success in Trévo. There are many different titles of leadership in Trévo, but the question is, what does it mean to be a leader? This is so important because your success hinges on this. You know, our model of business requires what I call the highest form of leadership. There is no room for negative forms of leadership that can be found in traditional business many times. No using fear, guilt, shame to try to, what we would call, motivate people to action. You know, no formal lines of authority exist. Your team doesn't work for you. We cannot require anything from them. They are what we call a volunteer army. So the way that we interact with them, the way we communicate with them, the way we inspire them is so important, because your team will take action and produce as you inspire them. Not as you force them, but you inspire them. So how do you inspire them? Well, I believe qualities of right leadership that inspire are so important. And here's some of those that you can think about. You've got to know where you're going and able to inspire others to join you. You have to posture yourself in a position of power. You have to have the answers to the questions. Where are we going as a team? Where are we going to get, when are we going to get there? And why are we doing it this way? Why are we using this particular system or process? You show someone the way, and then you step out of the way. Now, this is hard for a lot of leaders because a lot of people, because of their ego and their pride, they want to be the star of the show. But in our business, that will kill your business because everybody wants to be a star. That's why they started their business, is because they want to be in the limelight. They want to create freedom. They want to lead. And so it's so important that as you coach people and mentor them, and then they began to take action and began to produce results, you step out of the way. In leadership, there is a time to lead from the front, and then there's a time to lead from the back and cheer all of your team members on. You see, you provide vision and you provide skill by helping them learn the basics, and you inspire them through your leadership. You're a leader not just by title, but by influence. Now, this is critical. The next thing is leadership is modeling to others. Did you know that the example you live is what will inspire others? This is a lifestyle company. We do our business within our life, and as leaders, we have to live a life that is an example that others can follow. This is what creates duplication in your team. This will be from day one until the end of time. You see, in our business, you don't work one way, act one way, think one way in the beginning, and then you get the privilege of slacking off as your business grows. No, you see, everything in this business duplicates. What you do from day one will duplicate, and it will duplicate to the end of time because people will always be watching you. Now, when you become a leader, you have to understand that this is one of the privileges of leadership, but it's also one of the costs of leadership. I've always said that success has a price tag, and you have to be willing to pay the price. The next thing is there are qualities that are needed for a leader to model. So let's go through some of those qualities, write them down, and when this training is over, think about them. You've got to be a self-starter. You've got to be a hard worker. You've got to create unity in your team. You can't show partialism to one person. You've got to be a visionary. You have to have an entrepreneur spirit. You cannot allow discouragement to stop you. I'll tell you, growing up, I had the privilege of having a father that modeled that no matter how many times you failed, you always got back up and you kept going, because success was guaranteed if you never stopped. You've got to stay positive. You can't be off and on. You don't have that privilege as a leader because eyes are always on you. You've got to always have a power to see the future. You have to be enthusiastic, motivated. You have to have product knowledge. You have to set and keep goals. Now, here's a big thing about that. You can fail at reaching your goal, but you cannot make excuses as a leader. You simply have to say, I didn't reach this goal because I didn't do this, or I need to improve on this, or I could do this better, not make excuses. Well, so-and-so caused me not to make my goal. The company caused not. No, leaders don't make excuses. They only create reasons for the future success. You cannot take everything personally. You have to be committed to Trévo for the long haul. You have to have a long-term vision. And here's the thing, as your team members watch you grow your business, modeling, you may not like it, but your team will do what you do. I always get humored by people who complain about their team members, and I always smile. And I always say, what is it that they're not doing that you want them to do? And then when they tell me, I always ask, well, let me ask you a question. Are you doing those things? Because everything in our business duplicates. This is why modeling leadership is the only way to operate a successful Trévo business. This is critical. Your people will do what you do. And what you do, if you do it right, will create success. Modeling never stops. Never to understand that it's never a time to not be an example. It's important to understand that you model in every way. Let's talk about events. You never get so important that it's okay for you to sit at the back of an event. It's never okay for you to be outside because you don't need to hear what's going on. No, you always must model as an example. You have to be sitting at the front, or close to the front at least, so that you are sitting there listening to the presentation as if it's the first time you've ever heard it. You have to have excitement and enthusiasm for the business. You have to be learning new things. You see, the right thing to do is to show people that you're just as passionate about the business a year later as you were the day you first heard it. That's what a real leader does when they model correctly in this business. And so whatever you want your team to do, you should do it first. And on what we call a regular basis, those daily action steps that will lead you to success. Prospecting, doing presentations, doing social media, going to events, being on company calls. You're enrolling new life and health coaches. You're creating new retail customers. You're training, not only training for the company, but personal development. What's the last book that you read? What did you learn from that helped you to become a better person? Where you have filled yourself up, where you have something to give out to others. You see, the concept of modeling has a direct relationship between what leaders do and what gets duplicated by their team members. When you learn this and you put it into effect, you're going to see great results in your business. As you think about the qualities and habits you need from your team for success, make sure that you are modeling them, because this will lead to tremendous duplication in your business. This is both a privilege and a responsibility of leadership in the Trévo business. Thank you. I'll see you on the next side of the training.